Hi guys. So as many of you know, I am very ridiculously old. I turned 30 in February, which is like around the same time I started using this YouTube channel, and around the time I went on like my first live stream, like talking about politics. And I remembered like I'd only been 30 for like a week, and I remember saying it in chat, and they'll flip the fuck out. And that's when I first heard words like dead egg, or no eggs, which they're a little funny. But it was so peculiar to me because it's a younger audience, you know? So I remember when I was their age, I thought 30 was so old. Now I'm 30 and I'm a little baby, okay? But I was thinking about it. I think it's an interesting subject to dive into and to talk about how people are online, especially in the far right, because I've noticed people are like really weirdly obsessed with like fertility. I blame Stefan Molyneux. He's the one who, like, I don't know, he went after like Taylor Swift and was like, oh, your eggs are bad. It's bizarre, but yeah. So turning 30, it is like a little bit of a mind fuck. But for me, I feel like my life has just had such an unusual trajectory that having children at this point was not on my radar. It just wasn't. Like, I was a drug addict up until age 25. Then I had debilitating health issues for like 4 years. And then right as those got better, my brother died. And then right after that, a worldwide pandemic happened. So I'm not exactly sure when the ideal time would have been to pop out babies, like during the midst of all that chaos. But one of the few benefits of going through difficult times is resilience and gratitude. I am ecstatic just to have good health days, a safe home, and people in my life who care about me. So anything else, like, you know, having a relationship or kids is truly a bonus at this point. You know, I like being single. I'm not, I know it sounds like the meme, but it's just the truth of how I feel. Given how my life was before, I'm just very happy to have any stability. I'm very grateful for that. So yeah. But I will say, once I hit 30, that's when I realized, I was like, oh shit, like there's like a time limit to making these big decisions. And that does suck, because it's true that as you get older, your fertility decreases, you know? And this is also fucking true for men, by the way. It just unfortunately happens to women earlier. But yeah. If I can lock down a partner with the remaining droplets of sexual marketplace value I have left, then yeah, I would totally go for it and pop out a kid. But if I don't, you know, maybe I'll fucking like adopt one or move on to a farm or something. Like I said, I'm just very grateful to have like basic things in life. So that all would just be a fun bonus. So I've seen this meme online that's like, the feminist who's too stupid to know what's good for them, and they were brainwashed into like pursuing a career out of vanity, and they wasted their 20s and their youth like pursuing a career and like fucking chads on the dick carousel, and then they turn 30 and they're fucking alone, and they like hit the wall, and they're like, oh fuck, I wish I like fucked the other guy, like had babies when I was 18 or whatever. There's so many false like assumptions in that sentiment, and it's really odd that that's still like a thing in 2020. And I guess so there's like some truth to it where it's like, but this applies to men too, where it's like how many fucking movies do you see where it's like, oh, the man is sad that he wasted all of his time like working and not like being there for his kids, and he was a workaholic. That can go both ways, you know? It's just like a common thing, like, oh, like have a family, but the thing is, you don't need to choose one or the other, you know? Like my ideal, if like I ever did fucking pop out a baby, it would be like me and like my partner each work like 30 hours a week, you know? So mutually we have like a 60-hour work week, you know, the kids are at school and we're like at work during the day. Like that would be ideal, you know, maybe enough to skate by. Who knows what the future economy looks like. This idea that women only pursue careers out of vanity and feminist brainwashing, etc. is comical. The reason women fought to work isn't some misguided attempt at seeking fulfillment by imitating men. The goal is financial independence. Women work for the same reasons men work, to sustain themselves. It's like saying to a guy, dude, why would you want to like work when you could just live off your parents forever? The other false assumption is that being a stay-at-home mom is even an option. That's like only for very privileged people is it even possible to like skate by on a single income these days. It's not the 1950s, which was an unusually like prosperous time period, for some people. Not to mention, most men don't want to be the sole breadwinner, working 70 plus hours a week, not having time to even spend with their children. On top of that, raising a child doesn't require a woman to forgo her entire career. It's 18 years of a woman's life. What about the other 60 years? The kids are also in school 8 hours a day, and we have technology like washing machines, dishwashers, grocery like deliveries and stuff that's like greatly reduced the burden of household tasks and whatnot that women used to have to keep up with. That alone was like a full-time job. Also, just another fun observation, the same guys online who are like, women shouldn't work, they should be at home. Well, these guys couldn't fucking support a stay-at-home wife. There's no fucking way. Like, there's just no way. And also, none of these guys have kids. They're complete fucking hypocrites. But they're also the same ones where it's like women shouldn't work, but they also shouldn't want money or care about money. They shouldn't care about a guy's income or like, oh, women only care about money. It's like, okay, we can't fucking win. So initially I was like really just kind of like perplexed by this like weird like obsession with fertility because it would follow me everywhere I went. It's like, because I would, end up debating people who tend to be like on, the far right and whatnot because I like having open communication. It's something I'm trying to do, okay? But yeah, the audiences are it's just funny how unaccustomed to like a woman being in proximity to them that it's like instantly they're just like flip the fuck out. Like they just flip the fuck out. Like they can't act normal at all, which is so weird because it's like, dude, there's no way you fucking act like that in real life. There's no way that when like a woman walks up to you like who's in their 30s, you're just like, I bet you're infertile. Like, no one would fuck you. It's like, but yeah, initially I thought it was just like strange. I just didn't really get it. But then I thought about it for a second and I realized it's kind of like a pathetic, desperate attempt to like take women down a notch, by young men who like feel validly like disenfranchised and have issues. And, perhaps they're like sexually unsuccessful. So the punchline is like, ha, so you think women are equal, huh? Well, our fertility is longer. You go infertile sooner and you only have value up until you're 30 and then no one will love you. And you'll regret not fucking me. Also they'll be like, women age like milk, men age like fine wine. It's like, but yeah, this is also funny on multiple levels because, for one, men don't fucking age like fine wine. These guys seem to think that like every fucking guy is like Brad Pitt, like, and is gonna age like Brad Pitt, when the reality is, by the time they're in their 40s, most guys like are bald and have like a pot belly. It's like, it's really not vastly different the way that men and women age. It just tends to be perceived differently in women because of our shorter fertility window and also our just like collective obsession with like youthful female beauty. Also, just for the record, there's absolutely nothing wrong with appreciating like beautiful, like youthful beauty. Like, I have crushes on so many K-pop idols who are like in their like early 20s, and I just look at them and they're gorgeous, they're glowing. And I appreciate it like someone looking at like a beautiful painting where I'm just like, wow, like, because I like looking at beautiful people and things. So there's nothing wrong with that. Only natural. But I think we can appreciate like different kinds of beauty, Also, the idea that nobody wants to fuck an older woman is also absurd. Last time I checked, MILF was one of the most fucking popular searches on Pornhub. And my mom has a more active dating life than I do. Like, it's really, like, people date people who are the same age as them. That's reality. You can tell these guys, they read, like, that one, like, black pill, like, oh, look at the OkCupid article, like, dating patterns. And they think that's representative of, like, all dating patterns, like, ever. Which isn't even, like, physically possible. But yeah, it's like, they think that Tinder, Hollywood, and like reality shows, like those dating patterns are like the norm. when it's so not. Like, and yeah, the reality is men and women tend to become like less youthfully attractive as they age. Like, is that some big gotcha? Do you think you just realized that? The cool thing about getting older is you also gradually start giving less of a fuck. So aging in 2020 is also really different than it was 100 years ago. Thanks to modern medicine and improved living conditions, humans are living decades longer than we used to. It only makes sense that this would ultimately change our collective life trajectories. A woman doesn't need to pop out kids at like age 16, knowing that like a couple will probably die. And as civilizations advance, birth rates drop and then stabilize at like 1 to 3 per family. I think it's interesting too how as we've made huge advancements in like fertility treatments, women also stay younger looking for longer now, thanks to advanced skincare treatments, beauty procedures, hair dye, etc. And just general, being able to be healthy, having the resources to live a very healthy lifestyle if you are dedicated to doing that. I have a friend who's like in her mid-30s and is routinely mistaken as being in her early 20s. She's never not carded, and whenever she's carded, they're like, what? Like, what the fuck? So I don't know what people think you look like in your 30s, but it's definitely not vastly different than your 20s. And ultimately, the advancements in life expectancy, fertility treatments, beauty treatments, combined with a completely different economy than the ones our parents grew up in, has resulted in a massive shift in how we view aging. If you take care of yourself, you can extend your youth longer than ever. Men are doing the same thing. It's more common than ever for grown men to enjoy video games, cartoons, toys, and live with their parents for longer, and essentially live out an extended adolescence well into their 20s as they figure themselves out and find out what kind of life they want. This time of self-exploration can be even more confusing to men who've gotten lost in the mix of rapid cultural change. I'm a feminist, but I care very much about men's issues and don't appreciate the downplaying of men's struggles. And casual misandry, is that how you put it? Misandry, which has become, unfortunately, and like oddly socially acceptable. It's like, come on, if we engage in like casual misandry, or however it's pronounced, then we kind of lose the moral high ground when calling out, people who act like misogynists online, But yeah, that combined with automation, laws of religion, and general lack of purpose and opportunity, it's no wonder why we see men retreat into themselves and lash out online. It's so much easier to just glamorize the past than it is to create a new future and a new role for men and masculinity. It's their only point of reference is the past, for a time when they had very clearly knew what their purpose was. So it's silly for either gender to whine and blame each other for the struggles of the modern age. We're all in this together, and part of my inspiration in talking about these issues online is to bridge the gap and reach men in a way that's compassionate and fair, and to show that feminism and men's rights are not mutually exclusive. Our best bet is to be kind to each other and work together towards creating a happier society. So anyway, entering a new decade can definitely be jarring, but for me, I've definitely come to terms with it. And also, I truly believe, I still have my whole life ahead of me. For a lot of people my age, or like a lot of addicts, they don't get sober until way later in life. So I'm just so grateful that I was able to turn my life around and have a second chance. Who gives a fuck if I'm starting college in my late 20s or just getting my driver's license? When I find myself being like, oh, not like a lot of people, I just think about all the people around the world and how privileged I am to have been born into the most prosperous nation on earth, where I can fuck up so badly so many times and still be able to bounce back and just start from scratch. That's incredibly lucky. So I am okay with that. And also, insofar as aging, physically aging, another thing is I looked like shit when I was on drugs, so I look better now than I did then. So I haven't had that kind of it looks so bad. I'm pretty okay with the way I look. And when I find myself being oh shit, I remember that there's there's someone in their 50s who wishes they were in their 30s and looked like me. And then, on the other side, there's also someone in their 70s who wishes that they were looking like another person in their 50s. So it's you can either appreciate where you're at and just, embrace it, or you can always just be like looking towards the past, you know. I think it's better in general to just look towards the future. But yeah, so that, I don't know, this video was kind of all over the place, but I was inspired by just memes I've been seeing and thinking about aging in general. Maybe I'll do another like more thought out video on the topic. But yeah, I think it's interesting because my life is, you know, at 30 is, I mean, I never thought I would live to be 30. I never planned on it, you know, but here I am. But I am excited, you know, and very grateful for the things that I do have, and to be able to just start over and do stupid shit like have a YouTube channel, like, and yeah. Like, also, the older you get, it's true, the less of a fuck you give. And that comes in handy, like being online and for the first time seeing like strangers talk about me is like, it's super weird. And I imagine like if I was like a lot younger, it'd probably be like really upsetting, you know, because when you don't know yourself, you take any feedback from other people like way too seriously. And on the flip side, I can handle hearing criticism and that I'm wrong about things without being like, oh, criticized, therefore I am like the worst fucking person in the world. So yeah, I'm still pretty fucking immature, but I'm way more mature than I used to be, so. All right, well, thanks for watching my little video till the end, and thank you to my Patreons, especially my 2 new Patreons. I am at 7 now, and like I said, I am a person of gratitude, so it's really exciting that even one person would want to support my little YouTube project. Yeah, so thank you guys, and I hope you all have a wonderful week.